June 2014. Islamic State forces celebrating after astonishing the world, sweeping from Syria through northern Iraq to Mosul. Ahead of them, the Iraqi army had simply fled, terrified by the reputation for ultra-violence that IS had carefully cultivated.
When they marched on Mosul, the members of the Iraqi army who were there, who saw them coming, quite simply weren't prepared to be captured. They knew if they were caught what would happen, and so those soldiers laid down their arms and fled and abandoned the city and weren't prepared to fight.
In Mosul's historic mosque, IS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi declared a new Islamic caliphate, making Islamic State different to any jihadi group that had come before.
That linguistic and symbolic messaging from the group was hugely important in mobilizing what we then saw, which was tens of thousands of people, entire families from more than 90 countries across the world, getting up, migrating, traveling there to be part of this project.
IS pioneered propaganda and a new brand of extreme violence, carried out on foreign hostages. James Foley, Stephen Sotloff, David Haynes, Alan Henning, Peter Kassig, Kenji Goto, all brutally murdered. Their killings broadcast on the internet.
ISIS came along and set a new threshold for atrocities. It aped and built on what we'd already seen Al-Qaeda do, but it took it to the next step. The next group that will come along, be it ISIS, its next evolution, or someone else, is going to have to beat that in some ways, in some new horror, a new misery, to be able to capture attention and get their message across.
Islamic State wanted to lure the West onto its own territory for a decisive battle. It goaded European nations with a series of devastating attacks like those in Paris, at the Bataclan, and in Brussels. The West responded, taking the battle to Islamic State strongholds with allies on the ground.
Today, we're going to fight until we die.
In Iraq, Kurdish, Shia and army forces circled Mosul. A protracted air and ground campaign finally prevailed, but only by destroying much of the city and much of its civilian population. And the group's Syrian headquarters in Raqqa finally fell too. In the city's square, where so many had been executed, jubilant Kurdish troops could celebrate its recapture. Cleared now from its last pockets of resistance, Islamic State has been forced underground. But analysts warn it is far from finished.
We're not dealing with a young organisation with no experience. We're dealing with an organisation that has been defeated before and come back to be the most successful terrorist organisation the world has ever seen.
This is what IS leaves behind: untold devastation and incalculable human misery. Its caliphate lies in ruins. But its ideology lives on, and many of its devotees have survived, slipping back into the shadows to fight another day. Dominic Waghorn, Sky News.